They will give you always the best rate.
They connect to Binance, HitBTC, LMAX, and Kraken.
What I like about SwissBorg is that they have an amazing app.
PowWow, yo, yippee, yay, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into PowWow number 29. A big shout out to my beloved brother who's on a well-deserved vacation. Talking about love, we're always here to serve you, the beloved community. And I just came back from Lausanne, and I must say, I am so inspired. The youth, the level of intellect. Guys, it's crazy. Just coming out of meetings, even with my brother, we would chat about all the new employees and stuff and look at each other like, if we had to reapply to work at SwissBorg, we're not even sure we'd be hired. It was that inspiring. So I must say, always good to go back to the headquarters. And today, as you guys know, we're going to talk about all the most interesting topics, the market, the team, the technology, and of course, the CHSB token. So don't forget to stay tuned to the very end. How is your vacation going, guys? How are you enjoying the summer? Are you with your family, with the people who matter the most to you? If you are, let us know in the live chat and let's kick it off. Question of the week by Captain Pika, which is a brilliant question, really critical. With regulations on crypto exchanges coming, Binance being banned in places all over the world, what will SwissBorg do in regards to regulation compliance? Now, to be very honest, and this is my personal opinion, the latter half of 2021, but also all throughout 2022, those companies that have been ethical and compliant since day one will prevail. As you guys may know, Binance also was flagged by Bank of Italy on top of all the other issues. So the long, sustainable approach will be the ones who are here at the end. We're not the hare, we're the tortoise. So I think this is our competitive edge at SwissBorg. You know, we've been doing things the right way from day one, from the first minute of starting SwissBorg. And for those reasons, I really believe this is a competitive edge for us. Thank you for the question, Captain Pika. Question of the week, what is dollar cost averaging? For those who haven't seen, we've actually released a blog with more details on this. But dollar cost averaging has been proven to be one of the most effective ways to invest in Bitcoin over the course of the past 10 years. So dollar cost averaging, what is it? It's very simple. Let's picture that every month you can save, let's say 400 euros, 400 pounds, 400 Swiss francs, and you want to put those savings into Bitcoin or one of your favorite assets. Well, you can do that in multiple ways. Of course, a lot of people, what they will do is they will dollar cost average when there's a correction or a consolidation. Some people will do it daily, some people will do it weekly, some people will just buy all of their 400 Swiss francs, euros, or British pounds once a month on a monthly basis. So it really depends on what you guys have in terms of techniques, but of course, dollar cost averaging is one of those more easy trading techniques that has been very useful. Great question, and don't forget to check out the blog for more info. All right, guys, we need your love. We need your help. Please help us spread this love. Referral bounties of the week. This is an easy way for you to earn CHSB if you have a network or connections. The 3-star jobs that we really need urgently is 1, a DeFi product manager, number 2, a data engineering manager, number 3, a corporate infrastructure security engineer. And speaking of engineers, guys, we hired more than 15 engineers in the past 2 weeks. So I am super excited to see what we can do with such force on the team. So if you guys have anyone in mind, please contact us and you can earn, of course, a referral bounty. News of the week. So many very interesting headlines. The most interesting may be Amazon, but before we jump into Amazon, again, despite regulatory scrutiny of stablecoins, MasterCard joins Visa in offering crypto-friendly payment services. Big players are coming into the play, of course, but on top of that, in the US, they did a survey. 1 out of 10 US citizens have invested in crypto in some shape or form. And the generational gap, the generational change is one of the biggest studies and best results that we've had with regards to crypto adoption. Jack Dorsey, as you guys know, is talking with Elon Musk, has been very advocate. He's a huge Bitcoin advocate, has been promoting across all platforms, was at Bitcoin Miami conference, and really trying to get the greatest minds to join Bitcoin, the community, and helping in some sort, whether it be education, whether it be for mining. And speaking of mining, a lot of the mining in China has actually been moving to the US, where some people predict that more than 40% of all mining will be in the United States of America. And probably the biggest news of all is Amazon. Amazon lining up for Bitcoin payments and token confirms insider. It was rumors up to now, right? But now there's apparently an insider who's claiming it. Again, this is not an official statement. It's still a rumor, but the rumor is starting to become more and more interesting. And this could have been the trigger of the Bitcoin bull run in the past few days. And speaking of Bitcoin bull run, let's check that out together. All right, so Bitcoin, what has happened? One of the top 5 companies by market cap across the globe is saying that they may accept Bitcoin payments by end of year, or investigating its own token in 2022. Now, this is a really big step forward, not just for Bitcoin, but for crypto in general and the usage of the blockchain. In terms of the technicals, as you guys know, Bitcoin broke the first major resistance level throughout the week and has gone through the Bollinger Bands, as we can see here, but still in terms of technicals is under the 100-day moving average, which would further confirm a bull run or not. So still, we're in the uncertainty phase, and on top of that, volume has actually dropped. So this is very difficult to say whether it is just going to bounce and then go back into the sideways movement or actually continue on a bull run. But some good news in terms of the fundamentals. In terms of people shorting BTC, $110 million in shorts were liquidated in only 10 minutes, according to Glassnode. Which is showing that it's always dangerous to go against Bitcoin, especially in sideways markets, volatile markets. I hope none of you are using derivatives or taking some sort of casino type risk, because obviously the market hasn't really formed a clear trend. And without further ado, let's move on to Ethereum. Having a look at Ethereum, Ethereum is definitely picking up momentum, as you guys can see here, very similar to Bitcoin, where you have major support and major resistance levels between 1750 and 2400 US dollars, but it's still unfortunately trading below the 100-day moving average, which again is trying to tell us the story that the trend isn't clear yet. In terms of fundamentals, Ethereum had a very important conference recently, ETH Paris, but now on top of that, there's Ethereum London hard fork, which is scheduled for August 4th. And then one of the most critical updates is EIP 1559, because the biggest point of criticism that Ethereum has had over the years is it doesn't have a finite supply like Bitcoin has. And for those reasons, they're trying to find a way to curb the total supply growth over time so that there is a more controlled amount of Ethereum in circulation. So that is one of the fundamental changes that many people look forward to. And let's move on to probably the most important analysis of all, the CHSB token. Now, having a look at the CHSB token, obviously you can see here the first thing within the chart is that the CHSB token broke the Bollinger Bands, which is quite exciting. And I think what we can see here is it also broke the symmetrical triangle, which is a good sign. It's a positive sign. And the volume has been rising for the first time in weeks, which is a critical component, right? We saw with Bitcoin that the price was rising, but volume was going down. But in this case, you can see at the bottom right of the chart, there's a big green candle. And the good thing about this, guys, is that these are new CHSB token users. It's new people flowing into the CHSB according to our analysis. And we'll talk about it a little bit more later, but that is very good to see that the community is growing very fast, more and more wallets, more and more people using the token and the ecosystem, which is the most important of all. Still, we're trading below the 100-day moving average. We've chosen the 50-day moving average in this sense, which is higher than that, which is a good sign, but simply because there's not enough historical data for us to use 100-day moving averages yet. Fundamentally, as you guys know, we're going to be listed on Bitfinex, our first tier 1 centralized exchange. We're very much looking forward to. In terms of the progress, we've just signed the contract with our market maker, which is called GSR. Very competent team, has a long track record, and it's just a little bit of documentation for us to finalize this procedure. Other than that, there are other partnerships in the pipeline. You may have heard, some of you French speakers, that we are in touch with ONHR and Just Mining. And perhaps there will be a partnership and another announcement within the weeks to come. So stay tuned for that. And also, of course, the constant connection to our community. You guys are the ultimate drive for everything. What we've been seeing again on Twitter, designs, videos, is just nonstop new hashtags, such as Proud Premium. I mean, such cool stuff going on within the community. You guys are the absolute best. So that's it for the CHSB token. Since we started talking about partnerships here, let's move on and talk a little bit more about one of the recent partnerships that was announced last week. Partnerships. So guys, we're getting offered partnerships almost every single day. So we really need to pick and choose the ones that can maximize gains in the short run, but also give us the most long-term sustainable results as well, right? And initially within StateDAO, we wanted to partner up specifically with a gentleman, the handsome guy with the black cap here in the middle. His name is Julien Boutoulou, one of the most respected guys in DeFi, one of the founding members of Curve on the Ethereum blockchain. And the idea was to get his advice on how to optimize the smart yield for everyone, right? In case of a bear market, in case of sideways market, because all yields have dropped across DeFi, it's very important to be very, very sharp to still keep a competitive edge in the market. But we realized that finally we can partner up with the entire StateDAO team, very, very helpful team. We have a great relationship so far. And for instance, to give you an example, like if we start with Bitcoin, the idea would be to add a little bit of juice, 0.5%, 1%, or 1.5% on top of what we have already. That is the ultimate goal, right? Is to always be ahead of the competition by maximizing strategies. But on top of that, StateDAO can also help us cut costs. And that is a critical component because going from bridge to bridge across blockchains, you need to be able to cut costs in order to offer you, the awesome community, higher yields. So that's the second component. And then the third component in terms of the advanced strategies is simply to use futures and options trading. So really, if DeFi farms continue to lose yield, then we need to look at more sophisticated strategies so that we can still keep that competitive edge that we're looking for. So you can see here, this is the idea behind this partnership, and I'm very, very confident that we're gonna do lots of cool things together. Second part of the partnership was to do a token swap to ensure that both sides have skin in the game. Again, sustainability, invest the tokens on both sides for 2 to 3 years to come as we believe in the utilities. So that's about it for StateDAO. Stay tuned for the partnership with ON Asher and Just Mining as well. Dear SwissBorg family, one of the most disputed topics from the AMA was the CHSB Yield 2.0. And for those reasons today, I really want to make sure that our minds and our hearts are fully aligned, because perhaps we miscommunicated, we didn't add enough specifications. And it's very important that we all really have strong beliefs and never doubt specific decisions, because number one, all the SwissBorg employees, including the founding members, have skin in the game. We're token holders just like you. We're using the tokens just like you. So we'd never go for initiative that we do not wholeheartedly believe in. Number two, the people behind the data are PhD students from Polytechnique, from some of the elite engineering schools in the world, and really have done multiple simulations to run by and to look at different case scenarios, from more aggressive to more conservative, et cetera, et cetera. So our beliefs should always be fully aligned. But besides those 2 points, let's have a look at the actual CHSB Yield 2.0 in more detail. Number one thing to understand, and of course we talked about socialist Borg, communist Borg, and all these things, is that simple income tax brackets work exactly the way that the CHSB Yield 2.0 works. The more you earn in terms of income, the more you need to contribute to society, because the people at the lower part of the food chain cannot afford to do so, right? So it is just simply done in society, regardless of the beliefs, regardless of the movements, et cetera, et cetera. But the more important part here is that the yield buckets actually have a very positive effect. And let's look at an example here. So we will have different yield buckets, right? With different categories, different rates according to whether you're standard or community premium or Genesis premium, right? But on top of that, one key component with the 2.0 is that all CHSB holders will get the maximum yield rate from their account level at a specific bucket, right? So let's say, for instance, you are a big token holder. You own 500,000 or even 1 million CHSB tokens. Your first 0 to 1,000 tokens will still be eligible for a standard rate of, let's say, 21%, 32% for community premium, or 43% for Genesis premium. And that's very important to understand, because a lot of people thought that the big holders would be cut out completely, which is not the case, obviously. And then, if you have the second part, the second bracket, if you have all the way up to 10,000 CHSB tokens, you can earn 6.7% if you're standard, 10% if you're community premium, and then 13.4% if you're Genesis premium. And the bucket rates go on and on and on. By the way, just a disclosure that these are not the finalized rates. They may move. So just for you to know, but this just hopefully gives you more perspective on how cool this CHSB 2.0 really is, because it really maximizes the experience for the new users, but it doesn't take away that much from the big token holders. And to really understand this, we really need to put ourselves in the shoes of a new user. So let's go one more time. Let's have a look at the actual user experience for someone who just onboarded on the SwissBorg app to further understand why the CHFB Yield 2.0 is a really, really cool initiative. All right, so let's put ourselves into the shoes of a new user, right? They onboard on the app, they look at the assets, they're like, wow, the CHSB token has one of the highest yields, if not maybe the highest. So they're thinking, okay, listen, I want to earn such high yield. So they're going to buy some CHSB. Step number one, buying pressure. After that, they put into the yield and they start seeing, wow, I'm increasing my CHSB holdings relatively fast. So they hold the CHSB tokens, step number two. And then after that, they're like, wow, listen, I'm close to 2,000 CHSB tokens. I'm going to lock the community premium. It's not as difficult as I thought it was. It's actually happening very, very fast. They lock the CHSB tokens, removing from the circulating supply. And perhaps even some of those, they've just had such a great user experience where they're like, listen, I'm in this long run. I'm just going to lock Genesis premium full on and then remove those tokens from circulating supply. And then on top of that, step number four is they see, wow, the yield, I can further boost my yield on all the other tokens and have other types of benefits. So then they may think, okay, I definitely want to upgrade into the Genesis premium. So you can see this, guys, and on top of that, they will hold because as the more benefits come out, they will not unstake. And this really creates a very positive virtuous cycle for all the new users and all the existing users who maybe have not converted yet because they have a turbo mechanism to do so. So you guys can see really like the CHSB Yield 2.0 initiative is very, very positive because number one, it encourages buying pressure for people to use the token. Number two, it encourages people to stake tokens so that it removes from the circulating supply. And number three, hopefully it will even get them to go from community premium to Genesis premium. And that just keeps going on and on and on. And for those reasons, I really hope that at this point, SB family, that your minds and hearts are fully aligned with this vision. All right, let's jump into the data and look at some of the key metrics here. As you guys can see, we're at 436,809 verified users. We actually had a drop at one point during the big correction where we were roughly at 300 verified users per day, but things have picked up since. And we're actually close to 750 users onboarding every single day, which is very, very exciting. One thing to look at here as well is that it takes roughly 11 days for the average user to convert into a premium account, which is quite good. So they verify a little bit, they test it out and realize, okay, this is something that I want to use. And then on top of that, maybe one indicator that is good to look at is 1.2, close to $3 billion of assets under management. Now let's have a look specifically at the CHSB data. All right, so let's deep dive into the CHSB data. As you can see here, and the most important figure, as you mentioned earlier about the buying pressure on CHSB, we now have close to 100,000 CHSB holders within the app. So that's a really interesting indicator. It's showing more adoption, more usage, which is always very, very nice. Price change, 42.61% up within a week. We're a little bit south of $900,000 of protect and burn. And of course, if you accumulate CHSB staked versus CHSB yielded, that's more than, actually, if you guys saw, we had less than 200 million CHSB tokens left to circulating supply, which is very, very exciting. And in terms of premium users, we had plus 500 almost in the past 7 days. So usage adoption is definitely going very. Dear crypto blockchain buddies across the globe. No, I'm just kidding, guys. But for those who still have some energy, please join us a little bit later for Kryptonites. This guest was requested by one of our family members. Shout out to Vitor. Thank you so much for recommending Roger Huang. This is very political, so very different from the economic, financial, or technological perspectives. So hopefully there are lots of insights for you all. And speaking of insights, hope you enjoyed today's session. And don't forget to put in the comment section below your question for next week. And if it's chosen, we'll address that question. And of course, if there's anything that you want to see in the next powwows, put everything in the comments, like, and blast that bell notification so that we can get more people to join the community through YouTube. Thank you so much, family. Love you, and see you soon.
Whether you want to buy 100 Bitcoins or 10 euros, you can always get the best price execution.